Kobina Isumadu finds freedom in music. But outside his home in suburbia, he feels trapped by transit. A part-time student with a part-time job and no car, transit is his lifeline to work, school, or his pals downtown.
We need better connecting buses within our communities.
But a 20-minute walk to the bus stop,
Hey, how you doing?
15-minute bus ride, 30 minutes on the SkyTrain, all add up to one big pain. Still, when the opportunity came along to vote in favor of improvements to transit, he said, no way.
This tax, this blanket tax on everyone is not necessarily going to improve the transit system.
Welcome to the Metro Vancouver Transit Referendum, an unprecedented experiment in city building.
Metro Vancouver, population 2.5 million, is growing. By 2040, there will be 1 million more people.
It is a first for Canada. Voters are being asked directly, do you want to pay more taxes? A promise made by a premier.
I think the prospects for the yes side are good.
Anxious to distance herself from endless political squabbling over how to finance improvements to public transit.
Drivers in peak periods face a 35-minute delay for every 60 minutes on the road. Congestion costs $500 million annually in extra fuel and maintenance.
Referenda have passed in Portland, and Seattle most recently.
This kind of direct democracy voting happens all the time in the United States, says Lawrence Frank, who teaches community planning at UBC, but it's something new in Canada.
The funding sources that we have relied on, gas tax revenues and so forth, are going down. So we need a new source of funding. We have to, and this represents moving the decision-making to the individual rather from the elected official.
Especially elected officials who are loath to be associated with a tax hike.
Transit is funded through a mixture of taxes: property tax, fuel tax, parking tax, and a power levy, plus user fees like fares and bridge tolls.
Now citizens are being asked to vote yes or no on whether to add 0.5% to sales tax on purchases in Vancouver, which will help fund a $7.5 billion transit plan that promises commuting utopia by 2040.
The mayor's plan includes a long list of transit improvements: more road upgrades, more rail cars, more buses, and more cycle lanes.
For Evelyn Jacques, a bike-riding environmental consultant, yes translates to happiness and health.
I use transit almost every single day. I ride my bike almost every single day. I love transit. Have you voted for the transit referendum yet?
She's hit the streets.
Whether I can convince you to vote yes?
You don't have to convince me.
Ah, great.
Going yes.
Yes, thank you.
To win support,
There would be actually new B lines going all the way to Surrey.
but found plenty of opposition.
I agree with everything that needs to be done.
Yeah,
It's
it's really interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
just really not sure I want to
Yeah.
vote yes to have my money thrown away.
Especially in the suburbs.
What kind of reaction have you been getting when you've been out in Richmond in the suburbs?
People are a little bit more, I guess, angry out there, and the pushback
Angry?
has been about the fact that they feel people are taking their tax money and then wasting it.
Your yes vote will provide better roads, improve public transit.
Despite well-funded efforts from a coalition of over 100 groups, everyone from big business to big unions,
You're saving maybe a whole day of stress as a result of shortened commute times. I'm Candace.
I'm Chris, and we're voting yes.
using serious arguments and grassroots appeals.
It's not just those granola-eating, dreaded hippies in Vancouver that are going to benefit. No, our export-smoking, beer-guzzling truckers south of the Fraser are going to get hooked up too.
Yet polls show the no side is prevailing.
This is a $1.4 billion a year organization that's really good at only one thing: raising our taxes.
Led by a lone voice, an anti-tax lobby.
Does increasing taxation mean better representation or better bus system? Does it really, or does it mean higher wages for executives in TransLink?
Kobina, who comes from a hard-working immigrant family, is simply tired of politicians and suits squandering tax dollars.
You voted no.
That's correct.
And some of the mayors are saying that no means disaster for transit in this growing region. What do you say to that?
I don't believe no means disaster. I believe no means we have to figure out creative ways to come up with the funds. I believe no means TransLink has to take better accounting practices within their infrastructure.
They need to get their act together then, in other
Pretty
words.
much.
Whether it's millions spent on gates that didn't work, system breakdowns, or supersized CEO salaries, there's a perception that the transit authority, TransLink, cannot be trusted.
The problem you've got is TransLink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because TransLink is obviously these mega companies that get monopolies. They don't give a shit. They just don't have quality.
I think they care now.
They better.
Complex regional planning is boiled down to heroes and villains, with local transit executives taking the fall.
Yeah, I'm almost asking you guys to give them a second chance, like to help them become better instead of throwing them under the bus. Honestly, I feel like this plebiscite should never have come to the public in the first place. If the provincial government didn't punt this to the Mayor's Council, it would have been exactly past the buck. It would have never come to it.
Citizens in the U.S., when asked, don't always put the brakes on higher taxes. Voters in L.A. green-lighted a 0.5% sales tax hike. Seattle residents also agreed to pay more sales tax to improve transit. The secret to success in those campaigns, a lengthy period of public education. In Vancouver, mayors had but a few months to whip up a campaign.
Yay.
Lo and behold, says Lawrence Frank, few people seem keen on civic homework.
I don't think the people are, in many ways, getting very educated. They're just knee-jerk reaction. They don't want more taxes. They just want to say no. They think it's going to come from some other source. It's not. It's going to come right back, and there'll be a delay. It could be 5-10-year delay, and they'll be more frustrated, stuck in more congestion, because we didn't invest in more of that.
There's little debate. Gridlock is getting worse. The transit plan promises to change that. If successful, it might even change how Canadian cities raise much-needed cash. But if the plan is rejected, Vancouver is back to squabbling over who pays for transit fixes and traffic choking the city. Duncan McHugh, CBC News, Vancouver.